right, what's up, guys? JS Garrett here, and I'm with my good friend Nina the Mystic. How you doing, Nina?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing really good. Doing really good. I'm shooting from a hotel. I'm on a little vacation here. It's been nice and sunny and hot, but I'm having fun. And I've been on your channel before. We just dropped a video a couple weeks ago. Actually, not even that long ago. We did it a couple weeks ago. And I've really been wanting to interview you for a while, just really to get into your practice, what type of magic you practice, what type of services you do. You've done readings for me in the past that were good, like tarot readings. And I just really wanted to pick your brain and dig into what you're into. So I guess my first question is, when did you start practicing magic? How'd you get into it?
Well, I guess when I first kind of left Christianity, I was quite a while ago, probably like 2010, somewhere in there, and went right into the occult. Of course, when you leave Christianity, you kind of tend to kind of go right to the other side, want to check out and see what's that all about. Why is that being so suppressed? Why is it that we're not supposed to do tarot and astrology and all that kind of stuff, right? So yeah. I felt like, because I was a little older in life when I kind of dropped out all that. I did the whole marriage and kid thing first, and it wasn't until there were teenagers that I kind of had time to really start thinking about life in general, and so I had a lot of questions, obviously, coming from Christianity, and so I went straight to the other side, so to speak, and dove into the occult, and I just couldn't get enough. I felt like I was catching up, sort of. So I was just reading and studying, taking courses, doing whatever I could to kind of learn more about what the fuss was all about on the other side, so to speak, so yeah.
Was it a specific thing that happened to cause you to leave Christianity, or was it something? Was it a lot of things? Like there's something that had been calling to you for a long time?
It's kind of funny, growing up in Europe, everybody's Christian. You have to say you're Christian, otherwise you can't get married. There's a lot of things you can't do unless you are. So most people, I would say they are, but they're not really. They're not practicing. Nobody's read the Bible. They just say they are just because they have to. It was kind of literally forced upon us 2,000 years ago. We had to leave our, because I grew up in Norway, so we're all about the northern mythology and Odin and Thor, and we're very still connected to that, because all the holidays are all surrounded around the pagan stuff anyways, so whether you call yourself Christian or whatever. And so I called myself a Christian. I went to church and all that, but again, we weren't really practicing that much, to be honest. There's a lot of sinning going on, you know what I mean? So I forgot what the question was now, to be honest.
I was a particular thing that happened to make you leave Christianity, or if it was just essentially you've always been curious and drawn to the other side as you play.
I think what really stood out was when I realized that church and state were holding hands. That's when I realized, oh, okay, right.
I see it the same way. They say that the church and state is separate, that religion and government are separate. I don't see it that way at all.
No.
I think that they are essentially one and the same, and that's why every religion from every major country, the rules and regulations of that religion directly reflect the rules and laws of that government. And they put it best in Game of Thrones. Is the faith and the crown are the two pillars that hold up the world, and if one collapses, so does the other. That's very true. Like whoever wrote the script for that television series is a brilliant person. But you have laws that your government imposes on you, and if you don't follow those laws, then they put you in prison and or execute you, depending on what country you're in. And then you have laws of the religion, rules of the religion to keep people in line. And if you don't follow those, then you go to hell. So it's like people that don't fear prison will fear hell, and people that don't fear hell will at least fear prison. So you encapsulate like 97% of the population, and that small percent that doesn't give a fuck about either one, they keep the prisons full. So it's a messed up, and they both want your money. The government takes money, and so does the church. So they're the same. They're the same.
Well, they are, because if you go back, like for some of us who have actually read the Bible, like when I was in there, I was actually in there. When I go into something, I go full in, like I'm not just dipping my toes. So when I did consciously go back into, because I was in it, then I was out of it, and then I consciously went back into it again too. But it wasn't some kind of religious experience. It was a conscious decision that I made, you know. But when I do go in there, I have read the Bible several times, front to back, the old and the new, and a lot of other texts for that matter as well. And so when you start looking at the things, so what happened was the Council of Nicaea. This is what started Christianity, or I think most of the religions, to be honest, Abrahamic religions. This was a council that they have, kind of like the Bilderberg that you have now, and all these other councils that we have that are deciding our faith. Well,
Yeah.
that's what happened then. And so they basically just regurgitated the whole horror story. It's exactly the same as Jesus. There's quite a few of these religions have the exact same storyline, but
Yeah.
they, at the time, because most of us didn't even read and write back then. The Bible was only read by the priests, the high priests, or whatever you want to call them, right? They had to translate it for us. We couldn't even read, okay? And I don't think they have really thought it out far enough that not only do we know how to read and write now, we have the internet as well. So most of us are quite, educated now, and we know, and we can kind of put the pieces together that, oh, wait a minute now. So this was a whole Council of Nicaea, deciding exactly all of this, what they've done here. And so church and state, yeah, it's all about fear and control. That's what it is. And it's still working. And then that's exactly what they've been doing here in the last 3 years as well. All about the fear. And I hate to say it, but it's coming again. Everybody's, it's out there now that we're going to be going back into some of the stuff that we just did 3 years ago. So just a heads up on that.
I've been hearing that people talk about it on Facebook. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who figured that out or how we know it's coming. But I mean, you can pretty much guarantee there's always something else coming. It's like you said. I mean, anything that if you can keep people scared to death all the time, then it's easy to control them. And anything that rules you out of fear, I think, is evil. And that goes for any religion that rules you out of fear. And the people pushing these religions, they are government. Our government is pushing Christianity on us. And the people that run our government, they're not Christians. They're not. It's all for show. Like they're occultists. All right. Like I think magicians rule the fucking world, and they're not the good guys either. Like we're the fucking good guys, in my opinion. But we're
getting blamed for it though, and that's one thing that really pisses me off. Like a lot of these truth speakers and whatever, like Roseanne Barr for one, she's hilarious, right? But she's always throwing that in there about the Satan worshipers, and it's the Satan worshipers' fault, and and it just irks me every time I hear that. I mean, it's kind of like Christianity. Yeah, there might be a small fringe that are really, helter skelter over there, and same with Satanists, I guess, that are doing all kinds of things, and they're blaming all of this on the rest of us, who are not doing all of these things, so that's really pissing me off.
It ticks me off too. Like the true Satanists that I know, they're some of the best people I know. They're protective of children and women and each other. There's more. I mean, I know some really good Christian people too that really follow the morality that they teach, and they'll admit to you that there's a lot of bad in that religion. They're like, yes, burning people alive is wrong. That stuff was evil. But they follow love thy fellow man. We can all agree that it's wrong to steal, it's wrong to rape, it's wrong to murder. So you have good people in every faith and every religion. You have bad people in every faith and every religion. And the people that do really heinous, evil things have a way of justifying it through whatever their belief system is. So if you got a Satanist that also happens to be an axe murderer, then he's gonna justify his actions by whatever his belief system is. But we got a lot more axe murderers and rapists and pedophiles that are Christians than anything else that I know. And don't even get me started on Muslims when it comes to mass murder and child rape. The people committing all the most heinous, horrible, evil crimes in the world, they're not occultists. They're not Satanists.
Yeah, I think we can chalk it up to mental illness, and mental illness is everywhere. And so, yeah, they're doing it, whether they're doing it for God, because most wars, I would say every war is done in some kind of religious, right? They're doing it for God.
Yeah.
I mean, even back in England with the Catholics and the Protestants, I mean, they're on the same team essentially, but yet they're killing each other. So yeah, so there's mental illness, right? And they're just blame it on Satan or blame it on God or whoever it is that their voice that they think that they're hearing at the time. So that's very unfortunate, because it almost feels like the whole witch war is coming up again, because people are always looking for someone to blame when something is happening. So say there is a virus going around and people are getting sick and dying and whatever, they're always going to look for, who can we blame this on now? It's got to be the witches, right? And that's kind of what went on there 500 years ago, and it's kind of getting that same feel again with them throwing that whole Satanist thing out there all the time. So that's a little
well, how many groups of Satanists has gotten together and like started a war in the name of Satan? Has that ever happened?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Not aware of either. So
No.
I mean, I'm a common sense type person, and I was raised to be religious. I was raised Christian. Luckily, I was not raised in church. My mother would give me like a dose of the Bible every day, which was bad enough. But I was never baptized, luckily, and I didn't grow up with somebody preaching at me. So I think that gave me a little bit of an advantage when it comes to common sense, not getting steadily brainwashed by mass groups of people in a group setting. That does it creates mental illness, I think, and mental illness has never been more prevalent than it is today. A lot of that has to do with our food and the toxins and everything that we consume, and including the air that we breathe, heavy metals in our water and stuff like that. That's been proven to cause mental illness. And then religions are religions a mental illness in its nature, the dogmatic ones anyway. It's the opposite of spirituality. So I think the more intelligent a person is, the more they tend to gravitate over here and start like, okay, let's get into the spiritual side of what's going on. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a Satanist. It could be, there's lots of different esoteric practices that teach people how to think for themselves and empower themselves that are not labeled Satanism. So, I mean, it's all like spokes on a wheel to me. So it doesn't really matter what your path is, as long as it's a path to enlightenment and self-empowerment, and that does not rule you out of fear. It's not, as long as that's the case, then it's not bad. So yeah, that's we tend to think the same, most of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't call myself a Satanist either. I don't classify myself as anything, to be honest. And if I had to, it would be an eclectic witch, which is basically taking different modalities, different teachings, and making it my own. That's is what I would say. But I think
same here. I don't really put a label on myself. I use the term Satanist like the blanket term for all of us, because that's the that's put on all of us. But if you say Satanist, the first thing that pops in their mind is like, either sacrificing babies or the Church of Satan or the Temple of Satan, where they're dressing up like stillborn fetuses in bondage and doing protests. Yeah, that's not me. That's not Satanism either. That's more of a political organization, which there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, like I know what you're saying. We essentially identify. We are a part of God. We're striving to become God-like ourselves. And the term Christian means Christ-like. All right, someone who strives to be like Christ. Okay, well, who was Christ? Christ was, according to the Bible, Christ was a sorcerer. He was a magician that raised the dead and turned water into wine and healed people. So it's like, they'll tell you, the Christians will tell you that performing magic is evil, even though they're worshiping a magician from ancient times. But it's okay. It's okay for Jesus to do magic because he's the Son of God. It's not okay for you to do magic. If you do, then you're a devil worshiper. It's complete mental illness.
It is. It really is. And so I really hope that, and I'm seeing actually, which is kind of exciting, that religion is kind of crumbling now. You know, we're talking about the politicians or whatever. I know I'm in Canada, so our leader is Trudeau, and he's first in line for the gay parades, and he loves all that, you know, LGBT, whatever those names are, and that's completely against the Bible. So I think our leaders are kind of stepping out of that whole Christianity thing too. You know, because they know it's all bullshit.
Yeah. Well, they're
You know,
smart
like
people. They're in charge.
yeah, like the Catholic Church, like and we all know now, it's widely spread. Everybody knows that the Catholic priests have been abusing, you know, the altar boys and blah 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 blah. Well, if they actually believed in what they're preaching, they wouldn't be doing that. If they actually thought there was a hell that we're going to, they wouldn't be doing that, right?
Yeah.
So that alone is kind of proof that, oh well, obviously they don't believe in what they're preaching.
Yeah.
So
well, the Catholic priesthood, according to their definition of what an evil satanic cult is, like they are the closest thing to an evil satanic cult by definition of what that is. You know, it's irony. It's irony at its best. So yeah, I guess my next question, what type of magic do you tend to gravitate towards the most?
So I'm a lot like you. I like you know, Shimiaza, the Watchers, that kind of thing. But I'm also still evolving with that. You know, to be honest, like if you look at Church of Satan and Aquino, he broke off from Church of Satan, and the reason why he did that was he channeled Satan, and Satan told him he preferred the name Seth. That's what he likes to be called. And so there's been some other studies. I got another guest on my channel there. We were trying to put the pieces together that it seems that, you know, Seth is, you know, the old Egyptian thing, right? So when you start looking like who is Satan, right? Who or what is Satan? And I like to take it a little bit further. Like, is it Enki? Like, because we're all looking for the sky god to come back, you know, whoever created us, right? And that's why religion is working, because we're all seeking that. You know, who is in charge here? Who actually is, you know what I mean? That's kind of what we're seeking for. And as far as I know, the Watchers were here essentially babysitting us and essentially taught us everything that we know.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, as of right now, that's who I'm kind of going to. That's who I am talking to, doing rituals for. I'm actually wearing the master key right here. Got some fresh blood on there just for today, because we're actually going to be doing a ritual for him tonight with EA on Odyssey there. Awesome. And so, yeah. So that's kind of, yeah, those are my mentors, right? But I mean, I want to study more. I want to go deeper than that. Who are the Watchers? Who created us exactly? Because Anunnaki is just a blanket term for those from heaven came. So we don't actually know their name, you know, and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So
the ritual you guys are doing tonight, is it a group rite?
It's a group rite. Yeah, that we're going to be invoking Shimiaza. And yeah, I'm not sure exactly how extensive what he's going to be asking for, but yeah, I'm excited for this.
Oh, that's awesome. Where can you sign up for that on Become a Living God?
No, so where you do is you go to EA Quedding's channel on Odyssey and join there. Just join up on the channel and be a member on the Odyssey channel. And once a month, he's doing a group ritual for everyone. So it's called Inner Circle. Yeah. So that's very reasonable. I mean, you know, you can't get any more reasonable than that. So yeah.
No, I mean, I was asking for myself so I could sign up for it when we hang up. By the time this video drops, it'll already be done. But for those watching monthly thing, then definitely hit it up on the next run.
Or just do it as soon as we hang up, join, and then just join us back tonight on Odyssey.
Oh yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. So, do you offer services for people? Can people book you for readings and rituals?
I don't do ritual for hire necessarily. Okay. Although, you know, we can talk about it if you need help with something, but I do offer readings, consultations, sessions, whatever you want to call it, on my website, ninathemystic.net. I'm also at .net with the website. So I do offer that. I also have a Patreon. So if you're interested in having like a monthly support, you basically are going to get those sessions for half off on Patreon. And then, of course, I do my weekly hump day message, which you can come and get a free message from spirits. And so, yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's you did a tarot reading for me a while back that was like spot on accurate. So yeah, I mean I don't do tarot readings through my website. That's not really I mean I can read tarot. I'm decent at it, but that's not my forte. Like I'm not a master of the tarot. So I mean I try not to offer a service unless I've mastered it. And there's a lot of people like yourself, friends of mine, that do those readings. So if I need one or some client needs one, I send them to one of you guys, you know. But
Well, that's the beauty, you know, we all have our different gifts and talents, right? We're not all doing the same. And that's the beauty about,
yeah,
the variety of things. So, yeah,
if,
I can't do what you're doing. So there you go.
well, I mean, you know, if you have like a network of people that you know, work together on the same page and everybody's good at different stuff and you all like support each other and help each other, then that, you know, that becomes a pretty powerful circle of power pretty quickly. Not like a coven or anything like that, but I think it's nice to have friends that are into the same type of practices that I'm in, that are good at things that I'm not good at. You know, I have people, you know, like do rituals for me all the time. It's I think a lot of people, like once they start, you know, doing magic themselves, or especially offering some type of service for hire, they feel like they're putting themselves down if they book someone else to do a ritual for them. Well, if a friend of mine creates a ritual that, you know, I don't know how to do, and they see it as valuable, then why wouldn't I want someone else who's competent doing magic for me? I want as many people doing positive magic for me as possible. So yeah, I get all my friends to do stuff for me.
Absolutely. You can't get too much of that, you know, so
So,
yeah.
so I guess my last question is like, what advice would you give to someone who is leaving Christianity or thinking about leaving Christianity and getting into the esoteric practices?
Yeah, just get going, just get started, you know, and just, yeah, start getting books, you know, start reading, learning. I mean, now with the internet, you know, there's so many videos and there, you know, ebooks, and there's so much, you know, available to people now that we didn't have, you know, back in the day. It was just a library or something, you know. So there's so much, you know, but try not to get overwhelmed either, though, because that could be very easily too. You know, you're spending like every day and every night doing it. But yeah, just start educating yourself, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, definitely.
I would say that's the most important thing, is to educate yourself. Don't just study one thing, one practice, one system. Study as many as possible, and then find your drug of choice. Find the thing that you're really interested in, like whatever really gets you going and you're
Mhm.
fascinated with. Delve into it and master it. And then once you've mastered that aspect of it, look for something else. Like it's really endless as to how much stuff you can learn. The rabbit hole goes infinitely, as far as I know. I've never hit the bottom of it yet. So
Mhm.
it's that I never get bored, and life stays exciting. And you know, as long as what you're doing benefits you, it benefits others, the people that you love, then yeah, it's a good thing. There's nothing evil about what we're doing at all. So
Exactly. Yeah. And also ask, you know, the spirits to lead you to the material. That's another thing. As you're sitting on the keyboard there, communicate with your spiritual team. We all have it, whether you're aware of it or not. They're there. But they can't do anything or interfere with anything unless you ask them. So ask them, like, where should I go? You know, and it'll pop in your head all of a sudden, a name or a channel or something, you know, and just go there and just go from there. You know, let the spirits lead you to where they want you to go. Yeah.
that's good advice, and they've definitely done that for me. You know, because when I was starting out, I didn't really know which direction to go either. As I was doing exactly that. I was asking, like, which way do I go? You know, it's like, you
Mhm.
guys trying to get my attention here, you know, steer me in the right direction, and they absolutely did. And yeah, I've never looked back since. I've been wide open since day one. You know.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's really about all the questions I had. I want to thank you for coming on, and thank you for having me on your channel as well. I want to do more videos with you in the future, and maybe potentially do some projects or some rituals together.
Absolutely, I would love that. You know, we kind of came on the scene around the same time.
Yeah.
So about 7 years ago or something like that. Yeah, so it's been exciting to see you evolve, you know, all the things that you've been doing. And yeah, you're one of a kind, I would say. There's not very many that do what you do. So,
Well,
yeah.
I appreciate that. You're one of a kind as well. Don't sell yourself.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm going to put the links to Nina's website and her Patreon in the description of the video, and like and subscribe to both of our channels. Thank you.
Thank you.